Hey guys, and welcome to another legendary showdown up against one of our most fearsome foes, the Might of Natwig. And we're going to be bringing Norsca up against Bretonnia, which is generally considered a bad matchup for Norsca, but they do have quite a few tricks up their sleeves, mainly the Famir warriors with great weapons, with that glorious armor sundering. But as you can see, we've not brought them at all, because come on, armored skin wolves. And we'll get into those guys in just a second, but at the moment, Norsca are hated on by pretty much everybody. People think they're generally quite bland now. One of the weakest factions in the game, and every time we put out a video with Norsca in, it does worse than a video without Norsca, so people really not a big fan here, but I'm here to tell you guys I still love the Norscans. I'm basically the only player, me and Katam, I think, who still bring them in tournaments, and I think they certainly have some teeth, so we've brought them up against the Bretonnians here to try to show a message. They're Vikings mixed in with werewolves. Vikings, awesome, check. Werewolves, awesome and badass, check. It all kind of rolls into one. So what do we have in our build? Well, we have a load of cheap and cheerful marauders dotted from the front line, looking to wield those axes and make the old ones, the old and new gods, there we go, proud of them. I'm sure they'd appreciate the old ones loving them as well. In the back, we do have 2 units of armoured skin wolves. I actually think armoured skin wolves are making a little bit of a comeback due to how range heavy the meta is, or skirmish range in particular. So these guys are a bit slower than their naked brethren, but at the same time come in with a bit more chunky 70 armour. And look how badass they are, slow-mo walking into the camera. These guys can rip and tear if they're anti-large, do decent damage to enemy cavalry. And yeah, should be some good fun. So we have 2 units of them. We have a bucket ton of skirmish cav, 4 units of the basic marauder horsemen to try to do a bit of counterpunch onto enemy cavalry. We do have a Famir Belfiend of fire, Burning Head, Flame Sword of Rune, and Fireball. We have a Skinwolf Werekin down here, and the Skinwolf Werekin is one of those heroes a lot of people have used in the past, and it's just a character I never really used myself too much, so I'm certainly looking to try to correct those past misdeeds upon the Skinwolf Werekin. Ruinous Flesh coming in with that missile resistance and extra armor, 2 nearby friends, which is going to be quite nice considering we're rolling him dirty with Wulfric the Wanderer, just vibing, chilling, having a good time in his own little private party up on his mighty chair there, whilst the Mammoth does all the work, and he's coming in with all his goodies, apart from the Sword of Torgold. Now for my opponent's build, on the left-hand side, we have some sneaky skirmish mounted yeoman archers, and in the main battle force, it is a man-tide of filthy peasants and men-at-arms. In fact, not many peasants. This is more of a professional build, just men-at-arms dotted all the way along. I suppose they are still peasants to a point. And in the back lines, we have men-at-arms with polearms, some peasant bowmen, and sandwiched in between them are the Beast Slayers of Baston. Regiment renowned foot squires, armor-piercing anti-large, and a very cool colour scheme. These guys certainly do look like more foot version of knights, and they're going to be quite scary for me to deal with. More polearms in the back. Up in the sky, we have double Pegasus Knights. I was actually having a talk with Natwig, and we both kind of agreed Pegasus Knights are probably better value for money than the Royal Pegasus Knights overall. Nice mobility, should be able to do a lot of shock and carnage damage to my troops with some hit-and-run styles of play. We have a Paladin riding dirty on his horse, and of course the glorious Fey Enchantress. Let's give a little unicorn a little scratch of the horn there. He's a good boy carrying her. Well, she's kind of carrying the Bretons for a while, but the unicorn is carrying her into battle. Coming in with the Chalice of Potions, Favour of the Fey, Regrowth, Shield of Thorns, and Earthblood. Big fan of that toolkit there. And we have Gotrek, which is my worst possible situation. I love Gotrek. I don't want to have to fight him on the battlefield. Coming in with Gotrek's Doom, Deadly Onslaught, Death Blow. He is fully equipped to go to battle today, and he looks like he means business, giving it the mean mug face at the moment. Big fan of Natwig's style of play in general, as well as his build here, so it should be a pretty damn cool game. So Marauders are starting to push up here, and we should be able to get to grips with the men-at-arms relatively comfortably. The horsemen just sitting back a little bit right now, waiting to see which direction the Pegasus Knights go, because they're going to be our main target all round. You see some shots are raining in. My Marauders have been told to form a shield wall as the Wulfric the Wanderer does charge in, and we get a lovely little boat trying to go down the back. My opponent actually dodges, but with the wrong unit, and not realising which way it was going, and then the peasant bowmen get absolutely murdered, but they just about do manage to recover their wits and start unleashing shots here into our skin wolves, which is a good play indeed. I see that Pegasus Knights have landed, so we're going to charge headlong into them and try to pull them to pieces. something the Skin Wolves should be relatively decent at, though there is Archer Fire, and there are also the Peace Slayers of Baston, Peasants and all sorts, which can come to the aid rather quickly. But we're distracting our opponent quite nicely. Wolf of the Wanderer running over some men-at-arms, as well as the Polearm variety. Tries to catch the Pegasus Knights, but they do manage to retreat up into the sky, and a big, fat, juicy burning head does come down, singeing the Beast Slayers, as well as clipping some of the Peasant Archers. Nice dodge, though, managing to pull out the Beast Slayers away from the worst of the damage. Skin Wolves are isolated and alone. Paladin and Fey little hero blob with Gotrek have charged in, force the Marauders to retreat, and these Skin Wolves really need to back out of the fight as quickly as possible. And on the back lines, these pesky mounted yeoman archers continue to rain fire into us, being rather nasty there. And a nice sniping attempt is coming in by the Pegasus Knights onto the Fimir Belfiend. The Mortal Savagery have been left by me on this right-hand side. We're going to be looking to try to whip them up and around the flanks, so using them in a bit more of a reserve role here, waiting to see where the Pegasus Knights do land. But every time we kind of give attack orders, they get back up into the skies again, and we can't quite shut them down. In the back line, more of the Horsemen are trying to deal with the mounted yeoman archers, so we're actually going to get aggressive, try and chase them at least away from the battlefield, and then use the other two to dish out the damage. As you can see, the Pegasus Knights taking quite a big pounding at the moment. While falling back here out of the way of that nasty attack by the Fey Enchantress, both Marauders managing to ignore all of the damage there, and our Horsemen trying to do some nice work up in the sky, but a lovely little bait and trap here. This was a beautiful play by my opponent. He countercharged the Marauder Horsemen with the Peasants, and then whipped in the back with the Pegasus Knights, who again regrowth as well, breaking both Horsemen. We are desperately bounding, leaping across the plains here with our armoured Skin Wolves to try to catch out the enemy. We do manage to break off one unit of mounted yeoman archers, but that is a really bad situation for me. And it looks like the Skin Wolf Were-King tussled out with Gotrek and that Paladin slightly too long. He will be able to regenerate and come back into the fray though. Wolf of the Wanderer does pop a hunch of champions and down on the Fey Enchantress. I am going all out for that assault there. We do see, though, a lovely Earthblood coming down by the Fey is going to keep her nice and healthy, but not before she took an insane amount of damage there. In the back, Gotrek is trying to tussle out with the Skirmish Cavalry, and we're actually going to hit him with a big old thunderous charge. Yes, he's an anti-large specialist, but Wulfric on the charge can do massive damage to Gotrek. You can see his health just dripping off him right there, and then we're going to try and fall back into a bit of cycle charging. The Mortal Savagery have finally entered the play here, and they really do crush some of these men-at-arms polearms, in fact shattering them, open up the pocket for the Marauders to try to slip into the back here, but we're going to have to whip around and try to shut down these Peasant Archers, because they're doing some pretty nice damage work to us so far. In the distance over here, you can see some of our Horsemen did manage to rally in the end, but both mounted yeomen are still alive and active, which is pretty scary for us. A big, juicy burning head comes down on the Beast Slayers of Baston, as well as this other unit of men-at-arms, and we just eviscerate them. Snap of the finger there, Thanos style. My mage really has been my MVP so far. We have hopped on top of the Peasant Bowmen now. The Moors of Savagery are having an absolute whale of a time here, cleaving them asunder, big old puffs of blood being birthed into the world as the screams are ripped from the throats of the poor peasant troops. Well, one unit is broken now, and the Moors of Savagery are going to leap headlong into the next one. Keep up that momentum, lads, and they should be able to regenerate into the later stages of the game. Armoured Skin Wolf's doing a decent job here, finishing off some polearms, trying to avoid Gotrek where possible, and Wolf of the Wanderer is coming in for that Paladin Boutte, and he should be able to do some good work to him, particularly with Fight or Die popped, but the Paladin slips out of our grasp, allowing Gotrek to come in and just kind of hang out. He's looking up at Wulfric there, he's trying to do a Legolas, he's hunting for those tusks to try to climb up, but unfortunately, Dwarves better on short distance sprints rather than this kind of marathon. But once again, the Pegasus Knights being used to pin in troops. Pegasus Knights all round don't have the best damage output, but they have beautiful mobility, and it's forcing me to drag all of my troops in here just to try to save Wolf of the Wanderer, because if he goes down, we're in big trouble. We do not have much left dotted around the battlefield, but neither do the Bretonnians. This is such a scrappy affair. Potion does come down, but the Horsemen move quite comfortably out of the way there. Armoured Skin Wolves are going down, at least this unit. Paladin has been dealt with rather effectively as he Tokyo drifts away. Wolf of the Wanderer with Foe Seeker popped is now trying to deal with the Pegasus Knights, but once again is still being pinned in. Only 1,200 HP, and the Fae is getting bold. She is coming after Wulfric, doing some pretty decent damage as well. He can't escape. We have the Moors of Savagery falling back, and we do a massive swing at the Fey Enchantress. But Wulfric does break, and that is a disaster for us right now as the Skin Wolf Were-King continues to hunt down the Fey Enchantress. If we can assassinate her, maybe there is still hope, because Gotrek at the end of the day is still a Slayer with 0 armor, and we have a decent amount of javelins left here. We do finally manage to chase off the enemy mounted yeoman archers. Our horsemen coming back, and this is a wild game so far. But down Wolfric goes, which is a disaster. Fey Enchantress herself, though, very close to her healing cap. Pegasus Knights being chucked in to save the lady. They must do what they can, and the Maws of Savagery here, up to 118 kills, are starting to waver up against the might of the double Pegasus Knight charge, which is so bad because we still have 10 models left. If we stay and fight, we easily dispatch the remainder of these knights, but instead, we shall be fleeing here. Thamir Belfiend is fleeing from Fey Enchantress, which is probably a bit of a mistake. I should try and stand and fight, I think, with the Skinwolf working. I always look at the Thamir Belfiend and think, oh, you're a caster, but he actually has decent melee stats all round, including Armor Sundering, I believe. And the Skinwolf working has now been isolated and dispatched by the Paladin. We ran it close, guys, but unfortunately today, Norsca does fall. A valiant defeat and a super fun game. Well played to Natwig, a true champ of the people. If you ever run into him on quick battles, always feel free to say hello. Really nice, friendly dude. And yeah, I love his style of play. It's really quite nice and refreshing. It's not what you normally see, I think, from Bretonnia. And Gotrek, man oh man, was he a thorn in my side, getting a really solid 1.5 damage value with his heal yet to come, which I believe is a 50% chance. So maybe it wouldn't, maybe it would have. If we'd managed to kill Faye, when Wolfric was dueling her and Wolfric survived, I think maybe there was a chance we could scrap it out, but Gotrek, he was one angry dwarf. And again, well played there to Natwig. Super fun game. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, we will go through all the damage dealt and damage value of all the units in just a second. But if you guys enjoyed, make sure to leave a thumbs up and comment down below. What did you think of the battle? What do you think of Norsca in their current state? Do you love Norsca? Do you hate Norsca? If so, why? Do you like them, but just think at the moment, because they're a weakened faction, not too much flexibility, they kind of like, hey, I'm going to rush you, that's what we do. Is that the reason people don't like Norsca? Is it just because at the moment they've become a bit stale? Yeah, let me know down below. Or simply just yell quack at me. I enjoy reading all the comments. They are very inspiring and continue to do more and more work. Also, subscribe if you haven't already to the channel. We're having a nice little patch here of subscribers come in after, of course, the DLC. And we're looking to grow as much as possible so I can continue to give you guys this glorious content. There are links down below in the description to my Patreon if you want to support the channel, my Discord if you want to submit replays to me, you can do it via there. I don't accept email replays, so just do it all via the Discord. You can feel free to chat to people there. We've got new players, experienced players. I host events and tournaments there. It's a really good, fun time. But anyway, on to the glorious damage dealt and damage value. Wolfric the Wanderer, 2.4k damage value. 84 kills, 13,000 damage dealt. He performed pretty well, going toe-to-toe with some of the heavy hitters in the game like Faye and Gotrek, but alas, it was simply all too much for him, particularly when the Skinwolf Were-King abandoned him, only 300 damage value, and he didn't have that support. Taking on multiple characters with just one can be quite rough. Thamir Belfiend of Fire was most likely my MVP here, on 1,074 damage value, wasting the Beast Slayers at Baston, and getting good damage just clearing out the chaff, which is something we were struggling with. Marauders across the board did their job, not the best damage value, but they got the kills. They cleared out the chaff to try to allow the Skinwolves, Wolfric, to surround the enemy cavalry and drag them down. Horsemen did pretty solid across the board, 853 damage value, 1,000 damage value, and even the ones that got forced off still paid for themselves, but that was a really nice little trap by Natwig in the back using the Pegasus Knights. One year of Skinwolves performed okay, 749 damage value, but the Maws of Savagery, one of my favourite units in the game, 2,189 damage value, 120 kills, 9,586 damage dealt. Beautiful work by them, absolutely massive fan of them. Armoured werewolves run to battle alongside the Vikings. I don't understand the Norscan hate. As for Natwig's forces, the Fey Enchantress got 1.2k damage value. A little unlucky that I managed to spot his big old Comet of Cassandora bound spells coming from the sky, the Potion of Chalice. But all-round good play by the Fey. Keeping her alive as well was crucial. Went in as well for those heroic killing blows when she could. The Paladin and Gotrek both performed really well, 1.2 and 1.5 damage value. The Paladin was, in the end, kind of dragged a little bit low. Men-at-Arms got slaughtered, so did the Polearm, so they fared slightly better. And their Beast Slayers of Bastion, 877 damage value. Not shabby whatsoever, considering the burning heads I did throw at them. The Peasant Bowmen did pretty good as well, 600 damage value on both of them. And now is the time for the big one, the Pegasus Knights, 900 damage value and 1.2. Really good play using them as mobile pinning tools to stop Wulfric and Skinwolves retreating and cycle charging. You know, it's quite common that you see Wulfric cycle charge and Skinwolves because of the regeneration, and Wulfric as well just loves his charge bonus quite a bit. And the amount of German archers did good, 500 and 681 damage value, just being a thorn in my side, distracting me, dragging my horsemen out of position, and setting up traps. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Until next time, peace, peace, and as always, stay awesome.